It takes you 7 hours to read a book?
Welcome to Wow of True, the podcast of your wildest memes.
We're your one-stop internet culture shop, here to dissect what's going viral, why we care, and how this might affect our real human lives. I'm all alone in this cruel world, Isabel.
And I'm not Amanda. Anyone can be famous on the internet, so why not us?
I like how you ignored where I said to say something funny about who you are.
I thought being not Amanda was funny enough, but we're gonna...
No, you have to be funnier.
God damn it. Okay. I've been told by Isabel that in other situations, that I can still introduce myself as her fake lesbian lover. So I guess we can still go with that. That will just now be permanent on the internet now.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. I should have known that you would say that. Okay. So spoiler alert: Amanda isn't here. Instead, who's here with me is Tracey and Max, and later some other people, because I'm using Amanda being gone as an excuse to just harass all my friends, and I promise that it's mostly relevant. So say hi to Tracey and Max. Tracey and Max, say hi to the audience.
Hello, I'm Max.
And I'm Tracey, for real.
Tracey is my fake lesbian lover, aka my friend from high school. Max I know through Tracey because they're dating. And they're also island denizens, first-time callers, long-time listeners. Once they sent me a photo of them both wearing Wow of True sweatshirts, which I appreciated a lot. And they're just my friends, like, from real human life. But more importantly, they've experienced perpetual stew. And this is one of those things that I wanted to talk about because it's a really good example of the internet encroaching on real life in a way that's, like, fun and silly and, like, weirdly community building, maybe? Can I call it community building?
Oh, absolutely.
You guys say that
Yeah.
How much community did you build at the perpetual stew experience?
Well, so we met a bunch of people, and a lot of them are local. And a lot of them are repeat stew comers. So
Wait, okay, if you know the answer to this, what's the most time someone had been to perpetual stew?
I don't know.
everyone I talked to, this was like maybe their either first or second time, but it had only been going on like 2 or 3 times.
So that's 50% of the stew.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to explain what perpetual stew is, or should I explain what perpetual stew is?
I could talk about this. Perpetual stew, well, there's kind of 2 concepts. One is like the concept of perpetual stew itself, which is it has its own Wikipedia article, and it is a stew that's always cooking. People add ingredients to it and also eat out of it. And it develops some pretty complex flavors because it's, fire's always on. It never really goes bad because, you're constantly eating the food out of it and putting new food in. But what this is Perpetual Stew Club, which is run by Annie Rewerda, the Depths of Wikipedia person, in Bushwick, New York City. And what she does is she has people every week come and add ingredients to her perpetual stew, and she feeds all of them as well. So Tracy and I went once last week. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, and then Tracey and I were supposed to go again, and then we got rained out. I guess context for this is that Depths of Wikipedia is an Instagram account, a Twitter account, probably something else.
TikTok too.
This is what... Oh, fuck, she has a TikTok? Of course she has a TikTok. And she has, like, more than 1 million followers on Instagram and, like, 750K on Twitter. So, a regular amount of people. Amanda has mentioned her before on the pod in the context of she had a live show. And it was like, what does a Wikipedia live show do? And apparently it was very good. I think this was also the episode that we talked about the guy who, like, ate a rotisserie chicken in front of a lot of people.
Yeah,
Which is now making me realize that, like, there's a lot of, like, weird food bonding experiences that I think we've talked about.
You can get really weird with food.
Hey, do you think you could have just taken, like, a whole rotisserie chicken to the perpetual stew. Okay, so the other part of the perpetual stew is that to go to the perpetual stew, you must bring something to put inside,
Mm-hmm.
which is really a curse that you're bestowing on the next week's worth of people. Because they will not immediately put the ingredient in unless it's, like, something that will immediately go in and get eaten. So you could get really funky with it. I feel like when you guys went, you guys brought some pretty regular ingredients, and then me and Tracey were like, let's bring some weird stuff. And then God was like, absolutely fucking not, get rained on.
Yeah, so when we went, we brought baby carrots, butternut squash, and rosemary, which, yeah, all normal ingredients. But other people, someone baked a whole challah bread and brought that. That was awesome. Someone brought a big box of bird's eye chilies, and that did not get put in the stew.
That was not awesome.
But they tried.
They were just eating on the side, which I don't know if it's better or worse.
I love the concept of someone eating like the bread and the chili and then the stew as like, and that's their meal.
It was good.
It's like two regular things and then the
And
chili.
the bird's eye chili. I did not partake.
That was probably for the best. So I looked at their website because this is what you do when you talk about things on a podcast, is that you go to their website and then try to describe it for people, because that's what good podcasting is. And what I found is that they have like a stew editions, like the ingredients list with what date it went in and what quantity went in. And most of it was actually really regular. I was actually really disappointed because I was expecting a lot more weird shit from it.
See, this is why the stew tasted good. It's because most people are reasonable people, unlike us.
Wait, but somebody put a whole bag of peppercorns in. So
That's not
Sounds
bad.
good.
a whole bag is, I feel like, I guess it depends on the size of the bag.
Oh, something else I forgot to mention is the stew is vegan, so it could not have brought
Wait,
a
it's a
full
vegan
rotisserie
stew?
chicken. Yeah.
I thought it was just vegetarian.
I think both.
Okay.
Yeah, it's both for now because they're worried that once you put like any meat in, then the stew will never be vegan again.
This feels very similar to me to like homeopathic remedies.
How so?
Like, you know, like how many meat particles per like 100 parts of stew makes it a meat stew.
Yeah. Is this like a ship of Theseus thing? Like once all of the meat is gone, but there used to be meat in it, can it ever be vegetarian again?
Damn. It's like a curve on a graph where it's like it will always approach zero, but it will never get to zero. And it will always approach vegetarianism, but it will never get there. Okay, yeah, so I feel like the weirdest thing that was in here, everything in here is extremely normal. It's like they put a lot of beans in this, guys. There's so many times where people put beans and celery in this. I'm actually really disappointed.
A lot of people bring beans because they just like grab a can. It's easy.
It's just a lot of beans.
Yeah.
Also a lot of corn. Somebody put in Parmesan topping, which I guess means that it's not vegan anymore. Or maybe that was like later you put it on.
Oh yeah, I don't think they put it into the stew, but you could put it on top of your stew, your bowl
A
of
little
stew.
garnish.
Yeah, because the bread is like in the ingredients as an addition, but I can confirm we did not just dump it into the stew pot.
I think that would have been way more powerful.
Wait, there's banana bread on this list.
There's banana bread.
Do you think they put the banana bread in?
No way.
I want to believe.
I see someone brought a whole jar of veggie better than bouillon, which maybe that kind of feels like cheating, honestly.
Yeah, that's like many ingredients in one ingredient. But I feel like, I mean, I guess it's allowed. It's like a packaged product.
Wait, I mean, that looks like the original stew. That looks like what Annie just made and was like, we're going to add to this. I feel like that's respectable. I was like, we need somewhere to start. Please.
Oh no, but then again, June 18th.
Oh,
full
so Wednesday
jar.
again? Oh, okay. Huh.
Wait, did they put the full jar in that time?
One jar.
Holy shit.
Honestly, it's really big now because it's like they've got one slow cooker full of it, but it's like a very large slow cooker, and then they've also got a cauldron on top of that.
You should have mentioned the cauldron to begin with.
Oh, yeah,
So they were
yeah.
fucking serving stew out of the cauldron.
The slow cooker. This event outgrew the slow cooker. I think when we went, it was about 30 people, so she got a big cast iron cauldron, and that's awesome.
Can we talk about how there's like a woman who is a viral internet presence who is serving perpetual stew out of a cauldron in the middle of Brooklyn? This sounds like a skit from SNL or something.
Yeah, and it's just for fun. It's awesome. It's like for the love of stew.
For the love of stew. I do like that if your name is Stew, you can go there for free. I mean, everyone can go there for free, but they're just really excited to get somebody named Stew, and I don't think they've met anyone named Stew yet.
No stews at our event.
I see in their gallery that there was a Stu who received his T-shirt, so I think they finally got one. But that must have been like 2 days ago. This Stu is so
Damn.
happy.
Wait, I need to see this man. Oh, also the stew has been cooking for 30 days, which is a long time for a stew, but I guess a short time in the grand scheme of the universe.
Yeah, yeah. They're doing community building. I don't think this is going to last forever, though. Annie did mention she's thinking of like how she's going to close it out. So, one of the possibilities is a stew dunk tank.
Wait, so like, do they mean just a regular dunk tank, or they're gonna fill the dunk tank with stew?
Yes.
These are very different things. Oh,
A
okay.
regular dunk tank where they fill it with stew.
Right, yes. I think they need to dunk a guy named Stew in it too.
Oh, they must.
Also, the flyers for all of these say perpetual stew. Hey, stew lovers, in the mood for something steamy? Join a bunch of strangers for stew every night at stew o'clock, 7 p.m. Free. Just bring an ingredient for the pot. That's a lot. It's very Bushwick. This is in Bushwick, by the way.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I think she has just posted these flyers like in the neighborhood. One of the people that we talked to when we went was like, "Yeah, I don't even know who this person is. I just saw the flyer and decided to come," and like was like somewhat concerned whether or not this was going to be like a sex thing or not, because he like couldn't tell from the flyer, but was like, it could be wholesome.
I guess you think of all of that as like a weird euphemism. It's not very sexy, but it could be a weird euphemism.
Something steamy. Nothing steamier than
Something's-
eating some stew together.
Just bring an ingredient for the pot. Wink.
It was a pretty weird collection of people because it was like a lot of people that are very online. Like, Depths of Wikipedia is big, but it's not like everyone knows them. You have to be pretty online to know them. And then also just a bunch of like Bushwick locals.
I feel like the Bushwick locals and the internet people would get along well, though.
Yeah,
Where would you say that you guys fell in the spectrum?
we're definitely not Bushwick locals. I know them from the podcast.
And then I know them because Max knows them from the podcast. So like,
Damn. The circle of stupidity is complete.
I mean, you didn't even mention what we were trying to bring to this too, Isabel.
Oh, right. I didn't even mention that. Tracey, do you want to tell them about, like, we spent like an hour in Italy.
Yeah. Basically, we were just like, what is the weirdest thing we can get here? But we should also be nice and get a non-weird thing.
Right. We were trying to, like, go the balance of, like, regular item that you could eat in stew and it won't fuck up your day with, like, something that'd be fun to bring to the internet presence stew experience.
So what do you come up with?
On the more normal side, we bought dried mushrooms. And on the very strange side, we also bought edible flowers. Because why would you ever put that on your stew? Why would you ever put that into the stew? But I think the ideal one was what we found in the middle ground, which was multicolored numerical pasta. So it's like alphabet pasta, but it's only numbers.
Yeah, we were like, let's put some math in the stew. And it's like, that's fine. That's edible. Like, it's pasta and stew. People will eat it.
Oh, that's awesome. They would have
It's like
loved
totally
that.
on brand for the Wikipedia, for like Depths of Wikipedia. I feel like I feel like the stew needs some text.
This we need to be able to read the stew. That's what's missing from it.
Yeah, if you put alphabets and numbers in, then you could do stew readings, like mix it all up, see what words come out.
Oh, you could do like stew, like Ouija board or something, like or like like how you read tea leaves. You could get a cup of stew and like see what numbers you get.
Gosh, I really hope it ends up getting there because basically, like, it rained on our day. So even though rain could possibly be more stew, they're like, we shall not. We shall delay it for a couple of days, and then by that time, neither Isabella and I were free to go back. But we
Yep, so
passed these ingredients onto another willing soul to go get stew, which is very funny. The soul had no input on what ingredients that we bought. He just has to deal with our decisions.
I don't think he even wanted what we gave him. He was just like, why would I bring this there? And we were like, you're bringing it there. And I don't know if he even went, but like, it's fine that he can own some edible flowers. That's an okay thing to own. All right, so what do you think is the weirdest thing that you could put in that they wouldn't stop you? Because I have been thinking about this. Not a lot, but I have been thinking about this.
I think they learned their lesson early on. Someone brought a big bunch of dill and they put the whole thing in, and then the whole stew tasted like dill for the next week.
But that's not like a horrible flavor. That's like a regular flavor.
Yeah. What's weirder than that then?
My thought was that you could probably bring a bunch of chili crisp, but like not like super spicy, just like regular chili crisp. Or you could probably bring some pickles, and I think they might put a pickle in. I think you could get them to put a pickle in.
Oh, that would be a little bit weird.
I said the weirdest thing you could put in that they wouldn't stop you.
All right, fair.
What if you brought shin ramen?
Oh.
Whoa.
I feel like that would scratch the itch for a weird butt.
Wait, a single slice of American cheese.
Ah.
No.
Well, it's it's like if people do that with like purege and stuff, you could like that's fine. It's not great. It's fine. Okay, so I did some research on perpetual stew, and by research I mean I looked it up for half an hour beforehand.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so it's interesting because I feel like this actually falls into a niche of things that people really want to talk about but don't really want to make unless you work at like a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Because I found a lot of like Reddit threads about perpetual stew or like hunter's pot, but they all like try to talk about it and then they descend into arguing about like when bacteria is going to overgrow everything. And then meanwhile I did find an article where like there is a restaurant in the West Village that has been using this one stew, like basically like a dashi broth or something, for months, and they just use it in things.
So basically the answer is never for the bacteria.
I think what it is that you have to keep it above a certain temperature, or at least make sure that it goes above boiling like once a day, is basically the long story short of it, where it's like at some point you just need to kill all the bad bacteria and make sure that the food doesn't spoil. So you need to make sure to either circulate ingredients out or keep it pretty clear and strain it. And then you can just kind of keep it going forever.
Huh. I just
makes
assumed you
sense.
had to keep it boiling forever.
I mean, I think you have to have it above a certain temperature for most of the time. I think if you stop it for a little, it's not going to like kill it. I might be wrong though. I'm not going to try this. I cannot stress enough. I'm not going to try this.
I mean, it sounds good, but it sounds like way too much soup. Like I like soup, but
Well, so I guess that's why you need to invite 50 strangers to a park near your house.
that's true. And keep them coming. Have them come next week too. It's the beauty
Right,
of it.
exactly.
Maybe the real question is, at what point do you want to start putting the weird ingredients in? Like, at what point are you tired of the normal stew?
Yeah, maybe you start ramping it up. Be like, no more celery, no more mushrooms. Gotta bring something that hasn't been added before.
We gotta like surprise this to people.
If you brought like gummy worms,
Ew.
they would
No.
just like disappear.
Ew.
I think
That
they'd
sounds
be
extremely
fine.
bad. What? Wait, okay, you said no to American cheese, but you're saying yes to gummy worms. Sorry, can we back up here?
I'm sorry, American cheese scares me.
I said a single slice. At least it's savory.
American cheese is good, like the Korean army stew. It would work.
Yeah, see, Max is on my side here.
I objectively agree, but subjectively, Korean army stew also scares me. So I have eaten it. It just still, like, as a concept, scares me.
Wait, so once when I was in Korea, when I was like going to food with some people, none of whom were Korean, we went to like an army stew place, and then I accidentally got the one that had intestines because it had a lot of stars around it because it looks like that was like what people liked there. So I was like, this is probably fine. And then it was the one that had intestines. I was like, fuck.
Did your friends like the intestines?
No.
Oh, no.
But it's okay.
Did at least you
It's
like
fine.
the intestines?
No.
No.
Nobody was happy here.
No.
Oh, I guess if it was like a meat stew, that's a weird thing you could bring to the stew.
Yeah. I feel like you could convince enough people about the intestines. I mean, it's just a meat.
So that's all I've got on the stew, other than the fact that this is happening in Bushwick, and that I guess if you're listening to this, it's still happening, and you should check like the website. What is it? perpetualstew.club to get all the deets on the stew. I like that they have a running list of what's going on with the stew every day. Like a little, it's like getting a picture of your like nephew or something, except the nephew is stew.
Yeah.
The stew log. The current stew log is, do I add the rest of the beets even though they will dominate the stew? Do I dye my hair again? Do I go through the trouble of getting a new couch even though I'm only going to be in this apartment for a few more months? Do I cancel Sunday stew night since it's supposed to rain? So that's kind of the content you're getting from here. I'm very entertained. I don't know. Can you guys paint me a word picture of what it was actually like to go to the event? And then I will release you from this podcast.
Okay, so basically, like, all I knew about this event going into it was Max sent me an image that looked like a meme about Stu and then was like, "Do you want to go?" I was like, I didn't realize this was what the the change of events was. And I was meeting up with him and his friend there, which meant that I was wandering through the neighborhood by myself. And I was like, is this real? Could I possibly die? I don't know. But basically, like, you get there and the people are actually quite friendly, and they're like, "Yeah, come have this." I think there was a point where they were like, "Who wants to have the first bowl of stew?" Which is fun, and the person said that was what was it like
He
surprisingly
said
good.
surprisingly good, and everybody cheered. And
Wait, that's delightful.
it was
Yeah.
it was actually very good. I like someone brought a spice mix. I think there's a lot of lentils, very complex flavor. Like
Wait, so what does a complex flavor mean here? Because I think you and Tracy have both used that term to me before. Like, yeah, it tasted very complex. And I'm like, but what did it taste
It's
I
like?
feel like
indescribable.
sometimes when you have a soup, you're like, okay, that tastes like, celery and carrots and like, or like matzo ball soup, just like tastes like soup. This had so many things going on. Like you can't name all of the notes.
Was one of those notes dill?
I didn't taste any dill by then. It must have all the dill had slowly been eaten.
The dill of Theseus.
Yeah, so basically, Annie is in a chef hat with her boyfriend and a friend, and they're serving people bowls of stew. And then we just go around, sit in the park in Bushwick. We're talking to other people who are there. A lot of people came here alone, either like they're weirdly online. We met a guy who's like a comedian. He just moved from SF and is just like trying to make it big. A lot of people who just like, oh, my friend dragged me along. A couple of kids who were playing in the playground were like very excited and asked for some stew, and of course, they got some.
I love the concept of a kid like experiencing perpetual stew in a park like every Sunday for like for a few months and just assuming that this is a normal thing that adults do.
Yeah. You're saying your playground doesn't have perpetual stew?
Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? Where's the free stew lady?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the other thing was people brought their drinks. So like some people brought a 6-pack of beer. I saw a couple of people just drinking straight out of a bottle of wine.
Oh.
It was nice.
Wait, there's actually one more thing. There's also like one poster board. Is it a poster board or just like whatever,
Yeah.
a large paper thing that you can write your stew review on. And so it's just like a bunch of stew puns, and people be like, "Wow, it's actually good." But in exchange for your review, you're allowed to take a sticker from them, and it's just like some content that has been pulled from the depths of Wikipedia page. So now I have a sticker that displays a skeleton and bisexual lying, and I think that's great.
I still think you should put that as your one sticker on your laptop for work. I think that would be very appropriate.
I am considering it.
Do it.
I think you should do it. I think it'd be mad funny. Yeah, I guess the other thing we didn't talk about here is that depth of Wikipedia is like, it's not like a normal Wikipedia account. It posts stuff like screenshots that say like corn and beans. Why do corns grow slower than beans? This is from 5 hours ago.
It's the weird
and also,
shit. It's a really weird
and also
shit.
a picture of something that says Jimmy Dildo, and then the underscore is, in 2019, American comedian Jimmy Kimmel launched a satirical candidacy for mayor of Dildo, Newfoundland, Canada, there's a lot to unpack there. So you should go look at that if you're not one of the 1 million people following them on Instagram. And if you're in Bushwick, you should go get some stew. That's all I got here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for describing the stew to me.
Yeah, go get some stew. It's good.
All right, I don't know where we're going to put this segment in, but welcome to Literary Hubris, a podcast that is not usually within a podcast, but today is in a podcast because I thought it would be funny. And I wanted to talk about this, and Amanda isn't here, so she can't stop me.
That's kind of hubris in and of itself.
I don't think she can stop me. I already told her I was going to do this, and she was like, okay, that sounds good. It was a very regular conversation. Anyway, Literary Hubris is about reading 365 books in 365 days.
Oh, dear.
Which is objectively fucking stupid. Like,
Extremely.
we shouldn't do this.
We're
We're
doing
doing
this.
it.
So,
Should we introduce
Okay.
ourselves? Because like everybody knows who you are.
that's a you decision, but yes. Okay, with me today are David and Emmy, who are joining me on this quest, and we'll see how far we get. But yeah, introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Emily. I've been on the podcast before in my professional persona. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But no, I'm a real doctor. I'm a real human person. I'm a family doctor, and I read really fast.
Okay, David, would you like to introduce
Yeah,
yourself?
I feel less accomplished now. But so I'm David. I'm one of the editors for this podcast. I famous ones include episode 67, episode 69, which just came out. Let's hear it for that.
Nice.
Nice.
Comrade.
I work at Columbia in the music department. I am the administrative assistant, but I also just finished a master's in journalism from there as well. And so I'm trying to figure out my life. And I separately also read fast.
Yep. What brings us all here together today is that we all read very fast in a way that's like perhaps unnatural. I know this sounds like I'm bragging, and I'm not bragging.
It's just a fact.
It's a thing that I can do.
So we have a chat in Discord that David never checks that we've created for the sole purpose of being people who read very fast, because we're the most obnoxious people alive.
Well, we're obnoxious because we read things and process them before other people are done like doing anything with them, and it's annoying for them. It's not annoying for us. This is not oh poor us, we're so sad, reading fast is so hard. This is a we're sorry other people kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like, I'll be like reading an article on my phone and my boyfriend is looking over my shoulder and I'll like try to scroll and Chris is only a fourth of the way down the page and I'm like, oh, well, sorry.
Yeah.
I guess I have to
Yeah,
wait.
Yeah, having to wait while other people are reading stuff.
Yeah, that's the extent.
Okay, now we just sound like we're bragging.
No, we're
the point of this
apologizing.
podcast.
I'm sorry.
The point of this podcast is that we are reading 365 books in 365 days for no goddamn good reason other than I suggested it, and I think I suggested it because I saw someone else doing it online. Because I looked this up post-mortem, aka post-mortem meaning like 5 minutes ago, and it turns out that this is like a challenge people have done on YouTube. It is objectively a horrible idea.
It's a lot of books.
One of Amanda's journalist friends also did this, and I don't know how she did it unless she also could read this fast.
I don't think she reads fast though.
Yeah, so I guess she just does this instead of like other hobbies, which I respect that. But she wrote a BuzzFeed article being like, I read 365 books in a single year, here's what I actually liked, which is a bunch of book recommendations, which I guess I'm going to be looking at now because I need more book recommendations. And then when I asked Allison, who's in a different group chat, about like, hey, why did we do this? Do you remember? You've got basically a photographic memory. And she was like, no, I don't think you ever said why. One day you just said, Weir reads 365 books, cat smiley. So.
Which is all I found when I looked back.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find in our Discord messages when you asked me to do this. Which,
I think I just sent you like a message like a couple days ago. Like, okay, so this is also horrible because we've roped David in late, so he's actually 3 books behind because we started on July 1st.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I also I'm going to try. I'm going to do my absolute best, but also since I'm starting with a 3-day handicap, if I fall further behind, I'm like, whatever. I'm at least reading more,
Yeah, this is mostly my way of getting through all of my books that have been sitting in my to be read pile for mumble.
Yeah. I found that like I can read fast, right? And I will then inhale a book in about 5 hours or something, and but I have to do it like all in one sitting, and it'll take up my entire day, and so I find myself not reading that much anymore, just because it's like, all right, I need to set out like 5 hours or 7 hours to do this thing.
It takes you 7 hours to read a book.
All right.
The judgment.
No,
Oh my
I'm
god.
confused. I've
No.
never taken that long to read a book in my life.
These are like thick tomes. All right, these are like Wheel of Time books, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 7-hour book.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good 300,000. That's a lot of words.
Okay, but we have to read like a book a day for the next
Yeah.
year. I cannot stress
No,
enough. That's like
I know.
a lot
Yeah,
of
we're
books.
gonna get there. I'm
I'm also
emotionally
using a
prepared.
random number generator about it, which I think is a stroke of genius.
Can you explain how you're using the random number generator?
I, like I said previously, established work a lot, and oftentimes in the middle of the night, I buy books, and then I don't remember having bought them. So my Kindle is just full of books that I haven't read, like 300 of them. So part of what I'm doing is I am gonna eat through all those books, and I just put them in a spreadsheet with a random number generator, and it tells me what book to read next. Unfortunately, it picked depressing books 2 days in a row, so that's been fun.
Meanwhile, I've just been reading books like pretty arbitrarily. I feel like this is a good segue into. I feel like this is like going to end up being like the book club of podcasts because, like, after this episode, we are not going to post these within WoW of True. I am simply doing this because I am half the owner of WoW of True and I can do this. We're going to just have a horrible phone recording.
I mean, I think we could do a nicer recording and make it like a not terrible experience for the listener.
No, it's got to be bad. It's got to be bad because we're having a bad experience. By bad, I mean good.
I was going to say, are you having a bad experience? Because I've read 6 pretty good books.
I think I'm having an experience where it's like, damn, I gotta read my book for the day, which is a kind of a funny thing to say to anyone else, because when I tell other people about it, they're like, Isabel, what are you, when, why? But I've enjoyed all the books I've read so far, which is, so far I've read Yellowface, several people are typing, we both read that,
Love several people
and
typing.
the new Brandon Sanderson secret novel.
Is it secret in that one cannot acquire it, or is it secret in that you can't tell us about it, or what way is it secret?
No, it's like it's part of his like Kickstarter of the 4 secret novels that he wrote over the pandemic, and then he's releasing them to Kickstarter, like people like every quarter essentially. So the 3rd one came out recently, and it was so deeply anime. Cannot stress, so anime. An interesting quirk that's going on with these secret novels is that 3 out of the 4 of them I think were written for his wife. And what's interesting is that 2 out of the 3 released ones so far have been love stories. I'm connecting the dots.
You haven't connected shit.
Yeah, is you can read fast, but can you understand what you're reading? That's the
I'm reading it and it's about anime. That's all I gotta know.
So this is a question I get asked a lot, right? It's like, well, you're speed reading, you're not really understanding things. And it's like, no, those are different things that people do. Like, I don't read fast in my 2nd or 3rd language, right? I read slow. I don't read fast in technical stuff. Like I probably read 500 words a minute for technical, like medical literature stuff, which is still fast.
I mean,
and kind of
that's
great.
still faster than average.
Right, I know that.
Yeah.
But it's like very slow for me.
Yeah, it's same. Like whenever I in school had to pick up a textbook, I could feel my eyes start, like itching to move faster. But it was like, no, this is how fast I have to go.
Yeah. So I read Several People Are Typing, which I really enjoyed. It's a corporate isekai, is maybe the best way of describing it.
I don't know what.
I'm not
okay,
wrong.
so the premise behind you're
not
kind
wrong.
of right, but I also don't. Okay, so David, you haven't read this.
I haven't read it. I did because you both were talking about it yesterday, so I did like look up the Goodreads blurb
Slack
about it.
isekai.
Yeah,
A guy gets isekai
I think
into
that's
Slack.
right. Well,
Yeah.
that sounds.
I don't know if that's the word for isekai. Like, he doesn't like die. He just kind of, it just happens to him. Like, I feel like an isekai involves a truck.
He was Gregor Samsa. He was Gregor Samsud into.
Yeah, he was great.
He was on a spreadsheet, so he was the corporate equivalent of playing your video game, and then couldn't leave. Isekai.
I guess, although I kind of like what David was saying about the metamorphosis better. Like, like the bugification into Slack.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, it's kind of right. David, you should read it. It'll take you like an hour. It'll be less than an hour.
I'm looking forward to that. The other issue is that I keep like all the books that I keep grabbing all my life because I read fast. If I want to like sit and enjoy reading, then I like grab thicker books, and so unfortunately I just have all these really thick books in my house, and I'm like, God.
I think you should bother your roommates for books, and then they'll be really annoyed at you, which would be funny for me.
Yeah, that's good.
I like that.
They're gonna be so annoying about this. I already know they're gonna be annoying about this.
It's so funny because they don't believe me when I tell them I read quickly, which
Yeah,
I don't.
people don't believe me.
No, I think Aaron believes you because Aaron believes you because Aaron's known me
Yeah,
since
okay,
high school.
that's true. Aaron does believe me, but that's only because he believes you. So,
Okay, so I read several people were typing, which is good. I read a clinical ethics case book because I know how to have a real good time. I read Laura Jane Grace's memoir called Tranny, which is quite a title for a book, but it was good. She had a lot of her like old diary entries from when she was younger, like young adult kid doing anarchy and punk shit in Florida, and I think she did a good job of making her life, which is by nature of it being a life, into a coherent narrative, which is sometimes hard to do because it's a life, not a story. But that's the mark of a successful memoir for me, is it readable as both a story and someone's life. And then I read 2 medical books. One is the memoirs of a neurologist called The Face Laughs While the Brain Cries. And he's a like MS specialist. It was okay. Nothing to write home about. Sorry, dude who wrote that.
damn.
Damn, he's a neurologist, so he'd be like deathly offended by what you just said.
Yeah, I know. Like it was fine, but it wasn't bad. And then I read These Vital Signs, which is by one of my Twitter mutuals on Med Twitter, which was nice. It was a lot of writing about, and it was some stuff I'd read before about the pandemic and becoming an adult and also a doctor at the same time, which is a weird experience, and the huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then the book I just finished was called Madame Restel, which is a biography of a wise woman / abortion provider / midwife / criminal, kind of, in New York, right?
That last one is a lot.
Well,
yeah.
so I mean, yeah, it's complicated. She like maybe faked her own death and did some scammy stuff, but was also recognized as like the most competent abortion provider, like surgical provider, in an era where like nobody washed their fucking hands. So it was kind of depressing due to we live in a society, and her story ends kind of tragically, like Anthony Comstock, who hated prostitutes and whatever, got her arrested and threatened with jail, and then she either killed herself or faked her death and ran to Paris. I don't know which one is true.
Jesus.
Nobody knows which one is true.
You really weren't kidding about the randomization giving you depressing books recently.
Yeah, no, it was a lot.
Do you feel like you're gonna get to a point where if it like keeps hitting you with sad books, you're gonna like take the randomness by the throat and choose a book yourself, or are you fully committed to like...
No, I'm fully committed to the random. I think there might be days where I like really don't want to read more nonfiction or whatever, but I mean, again, I read fast enough. I regularly have 2 to 3 book days, as you may know from the fact that I'm on book 6 and it's day 4.
Yeah, you're truly going through them. Although I know you have to move later, so it's like a let's stock up before that happens sort of thing.
Yeah. I need to get ahead before I'm behind, because I will be behind kind of sitch. And then today I got served a book about knitting, so I'm happy.
All right, David, what are your plans?
Well, so again, I found out about this yesterday. So I'm
so sorry. You don't have to do this.
No,
I told you. You don't have to.
It's just hilarious because I was telling my friend that I'm doing this, and I'm also like trying to go to the gym 6 days a week, and I'm also like trying to revive my Duolingo Spanish stuff. And it's just like, cool, another thing to add to the pile. But
It feels like you
this
can combine those things, though.
Yeah, I definitely can. I can definitely combine the
Okay.
Spanish. Anyway,
Okay, you gotta.
so I
What you have to do?
yeah.
What you have
What
to
do I
do
have to do?
is you have to read a book in Spanish while at the gym.
Oh, you know what?
This is how you combine everything.
This is how I combine everything. This is the
how you
correct
lose the
choice.
time war.
This is how I
That
lose
is
the
on my
time war.
list.
It's good.
That's
You'll
on
like
my
it.
list too. So
Oh, I wait. You guys should tell me what you think of it because I liked it. I think it's a little overhyped.
sorry, are you doubting the word of Bigolus Dickolus?
Oh yeah, that's fucked up of me. I can't doubt Bigolus
Yeah.
Dickolus.
Yeah,
What the
dude.
hell?
What the hell?
So I have two books that I grabbed from the public library yesterday. Which I'm behind, so I only finished one yesterday, which was Gay Bar by Jeremy Atherton Lynn, which is a really lovely sort of memoir slash history of different gay bars that he has personal relationships to, but also what they meant for gay men through history at those specific gay bars. And it's sort of told chronologically, right? So each gay bar is from a different point of his life, but it's not from beginning until modern day, which is really cool. Also, his prose is really gorgeous. And he has a way with words, and also it's making me think about my own experience being queer, and it's making me think about I read Times Square Red, Times Square Blue, which is about hookup culture in the 70s in Times Square for gay men at these
That's sick.
pornographic theaters, and to read now about hookup culture from the 80s and 90s at these gay bars. It feels like I'm building I'm knitting another square onto the tapestry of gay history that I'm learning about. So
Makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and then
That's
the
sick.
other book that I have, which I haven't started yet today, which I'm going to start as soon as we get off the podcast, is Till the Wheels Fall Off, which is a novel by Brad Zellar. I'm the worst kind of person because I really just look at covers and I go, oh, that looks cool. And
Damn, you're part of the
I'm
problem.
part of the problem. But I did then look this up, after I grabbed this from the public library, I looked it up, and it has gotten 4 out of 5 stars in multiple places, so I'm excited to read it. It says it's a discursive lo-fi novel about rural Midwestern life, nostalgia, neurodiversity, masculinity, and I'm like, sure.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
vibe.
So I will appreciate this today, and I will try to find it. I have so many books in my apartment, or even in my room, that I have bought and then not read, because I think that for me the act of buying a book is almost as important as reading one.
Yo, I feel
Yeah.
that.
I also feel that, which is maybe why we should do this.
Yeah, honestly, if I can. So here's the other thing: I'm never gonna get rid of any book that I buy. I'm just no, I got it. It's mine, even if it's terrible. I'm no, this goes on my shelf. But at least now maybe I can have books on my shelf that I don't have to then cough when someone asks me about it, and go anyway. Yeah.
No, but I feel like it's healthy to have books on your TBR pile in your house because it's also okay. Wouldn't it be weird if you went into someone's house and they had read every single book that they owned?
I would think they were a serial killer.
Right?
It's like knitters who don't keep any stash. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's because it's about the act of okay, we're in process here. It's if you've read them all, you're done here, and that's also just a weird thing to do. I don't know. My list is very I'm bad at having a TBR pile. I just kind of pick books on vibes.
Yeah, I went through my Kindle and just listed every book I hadn't read yet and put it all into this spreadsheet. And I was very ashamed and shocked to find that it was 350 books.
That's kind of, honestly, that's in character.
That means you only have to find, quote unquote, 15 more books, though. That's great. So.
Well, but some of them I might be these actually suck.
Well, you don't have to read them. I feel like part of this is that if a book sucks, you don't have to read that specific book.
Oh, hey, wait, I have an idea for another thing we can talk about on here. The rules.
Oh, the rules. Yes. We do have rules to this.
They're mostly vibes-based.
No, but they're semi-concrete. The first rule that is... Okay, I'll just run through them because I do remember them. Because I wrote them down twice. The first rule is that these need to be a published book. It doesn't really matter the length. It just has to be a published book. This does not include like web novels. It doesn't include
Sorry, Allison.
fan fiction. Yeah, rip. This is honestly for the best. Web novels are very long. Yeah, it has to be published. I think we can include self-published stuff to some extent. I think what I care about is that there is a physical version of it, aka someone took the time to get it to a physical version.
Yeah.
Even if we read the online version. The second rule is that we can do rereads of stuff we've read before. That's fine, just don't do too many. If we do all rereads, that's also sus. Same with kids' books, middle grade, comic books.
Yeah.
Like, that's still a book, it's fine. Just don't do it all of those. Fourth rule is, I don't know if there's a fourth rule.
So compilations of essays.
Yeah, compilations of things count as long as they are like a printed book. So, example, a collection of short stories would count, but like a bunch of short stories you read online does not count. Collection of essays, yes. New York Times, no.
Right.
What if I like read Harper's?
No.
Uh,
Don't think that's how that
I
works.
feel like no.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
On audiobooks don't count. You have to read these with your eyes rather than your ears. Although, like, no shade to people
truly
who...
mean to be at the gym. I'm like,
you holding a Kindle.
like,
Here's the problem though with audiobooks is they're so fucking slow.
this is so.
Yeah, audiobooks
They're
take
so
longer.
slow.
Do you think we should? But maybe we should get each like 10 audiobooks as like
No,
a.
because I'm not. I
No?
don't listen to audiobooks anyway because they read too slow. Honestly, like I just
Can I
don't
have
do it.
one
I'm like,
audiobook for my 8-hour drive to Minnesota?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Can we choose what the book is?
Yeah, we should.
Wait, no. Let us choose what the book is.
I want to finish the Murderbot I was reading /
Okay.
audiobooking the last time I drove to Minnesota.
Okay, fine. You get that one audiobook. Actually, I think you get 2 audiobooks, but we choose the second audiobook.
Oh God. Okay.
Oh, wait, can I make this a pitch actually that as if we want to do an audiobook, the other 2 have to pick what audiobook it is.
Okay.
Oh, and the final bit of rules was I've never read the Lord of the Rings. You know, come at me in the comments. But I was asking is that one book or 3?
Yeah, and I said 3 because there's 3
There's
movies.
3 movies,
Fine,
yeah.
whatever.
All right, thank you. So at some point, it's in my pile. I will read the Lord of the Rings, and I'll feel really good about knocking out 3. So
Yeah.
Nice. But that's the one exception.
that's the one exception. And also, I did start like 3 days late. So I'm,
Yeah, you started 3 days late, so you get that. Okay, so what are you guys gonna read this week? If you know, I guess Emmy, you have a whole randomization situation going on. I have a zillion things on my Libby that I checked out.
I mean, I can make a schedule.
Christ.
I'm just all right. I'm doing this. I'm doing it live. I'm pulling up random.org.
Okay, while you're doing this, I'm gonna say what I'm probably gonna read and what I probably will not actually end up reading. First, right now I'm reading In the Garden of Beasts, which is about the American ambassador to Germany right before World War II happened, so you can imagine the situation there.
Suboptimal.
It's by the guy who wrote Suboptimal. It's definitely not a good book to use for this because I think it's kind of long, but it's by the guy who did The Devil and the White City, so so far it's entertaining. I'm reading The Lathe of Heaven because that's the one Ursula K. Le Guin book that I haven't read.
Oh, that's on my to be read too. It's the one of hers I haven't read either.
Yeah, I'm reading Looking for Alaska because I should finally read a John Green book to understand Amanda's culture.
you've never
Hold on,
read
wait,
the John
you've
Green
never-
book. Oh my god.
How did you get through your teen years without ever having encountered?
I mean, it was like that thing where everyone... You know that thing where too many people are doing something so you don't want to do it?
Yeah, it's called being
This
a
is how I feel about
teenager.
John Green.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I didn't want to read John Green because everyone else was reading John Green.
Yeah, but then
Fair
when
enough.
everyone was like falling off of John Green, you weren't like, oh.
No, because I was an
Okay,
adult.
right.
Fair enough.
You-
I have mad respect. I have mad respect for him. Like, his books are okay. They're not always my thing, and that's regular and normal, but I do have mad respect for the guy working with Partners in Health, which is an extremely rad organization, and they're like building a hospital to decrease maternal mortality in Sierra Leone, which has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. And as someone who cares for pregnant people, I think that's really cool. So maximum respect, actually.
I have I have respect for him for that, but also I have respect for him for watching Vlogbrothers since I was 10. So
Wait, weren't you like a mod on their Minecraft
yeah,
server?
so my fun fact is that in high school
What?
I was So they started a Minecraft server, and I joined it, and then within like less than a year, I was picked to become a moderator for their Minecraft server. I went to VidCon with the other moderators. There's like videos, there's photos on my Facebook if you want to go back and look at it. And the worst thing that ever happened was that I was never online when Hank or John came onto the Minecraft server. I was always like doing something else, and so I never got to interact with them, which is my.
Hank's novels are actually really, really good. I enjoyed them immensely.
I read the first one.
Okay, well, I'm generating the next book. Hold on.
Oh God, okay.
Okay, it's book number 162 on my spreadsheet. Let's find out what that is.
Oh.
I'm really enjoying these different approaches we have here, where it's.
My plan is to knock out everything in my room.
I respect that.
My next book will be Artemis by Andy Weir.
Oh,
I heard that's bad.
I have that in my room. We can read it. We can read it at the same time.
Should I read it too? Okay.
Yeah. Do you guys want to read it today?
Tomorrow,
Because
I'm in the middle of a different one.
But I'm gonna be up all night, so whatever.
Okay, you start, and then we'll catch up. So
we'll discuss Artemis the next time we do this.
Okay.
Damn, because I really liked The Martian, and I would hope that other things written by the same guy are good. But
no, okay. So The Martian was good. The latest one that he did was good. I'm forgetting the name. I heard that Artemis was like the one flop.
Fuck.
No, I mean we'll read it. Maybe it's good. I don't know. I think part of it was just that like. What I heard, this is discourse from Reddit, so you can take this with a huge grain of salt, is the fact that he doesn't do, like, female protagonists super well, which I'm kind of willing to believe based on just the way that he writes. But we will find out. We will all learn this together.
He's a programmer, to be fair.
Damn!
Wait a minute. He's the guy who wrote The Egg, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was the same guy.
Okay, last thing I want to talk about. What has the reactions been from people around you to, I'm going to read 365 books in 365 days?
The first response I got was, I mean, sounds like hell to me, but have fun. And then also, that's wild. So these are the words from the street.
Let me see what Wow If True Discord has said about this project.
I think the interesting thing about Wow If True's Discord's reaction has been that people have been like, I'm going to read more books. And I'm like, hell yeah, you should do that. Really promoting literacy among the overly online cohort.
Good for you.
Oh, I said when we came up with this stupid idea that we should have to read a bunch of each other's recommendations.
I agree with that.
Lots of I wish you luck and that's stupid and how and why. And then I went and tested. Have you guys recently tested your reading speed?
No, you keep telling me to, and I keep looking at the message. I keep looking at the message when I'm about to go to sleep.
The last time I did it was like 950 was what I got, but that was like a year ago, I think.
Was what in 50?
950.
950. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were faster than that because I know Aaron thinks that you're faster than I am. Which is okay. You know what Aaron wants us to do? Aaron wants us to have like a race, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. This doesn't sound like fun.
I have always been 950, whatever number. I think Aaron is impressed by me more than I am. So
you need to check, Isabel. But anyways, I timed myself reading something very recently and it was like 1250, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
I know you're faster than I am, so
I really don't think I'm faster than you.
I do think that after 900, it's all kind of a wash to, like, regular people. Like, at that point, it's just that's fast, and it's to the point where people don't believe you're reading that fast, and after you hit that threshold, it's like, it's some
all
amount,
the same.
And now you will do things like try and read 365 books in 365 days because you're full of hubris.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this is, like, in the line of, like, you know how people will do things online for... Like, you know how Mr. Beast will do weird long challenges or make people do... Okay, Mr. Beast is a YouTuber who basically his whole shtick is he does stuff with, like, grand gestures or long amounts of time or insane amounts of money and then gets viral videos. So it's stuff like 100 people have to stay within the bounds of the circle and the last one who's there gets $1 million. Stuff like that. It's kind of like he did, like, a real-life Squid Game with no deaths.
What? Okay.
No, like with no deaths.
Okay.
Jesus. Well, we're not in the dystopia world yet.
I don't know.
But he also does stuff like, I'm gonna do cataract surgery for like 100 people and now they can see, which like generated an incredible amount of discourse because it's
Hold
like,
on.
oh god,
Is
are
he
we?
an
He didn't-
ophthalmologist?
No, he didn't do it. He sponsored it. I'm sorry, I misspoke. He was not physically. He was not physically gouging people's eyes.
Okay, well, wait, but why does sponsoring a bunch of cataract surgeries, why is that a problem? Because, like, cataract.
Oh, this is you're discovering the discourse. This is
I'm baffled.
Congratulations, you found the discourse.
I'm baffled by the discourse.
The discourse is that like, oh god, we're relying on YouTubers now.
Well,
Oh god, the YouTuber has to do something good for clout, and now it's like, oh god, cataract surgery is now for entertainment. We live in a society. That was kind of the discourse, and it was like, but like, a bunch of people got cataract surgery, so good for them.
okay, yeah, well, yeah. I'm like, if that's what you're using your money for, fuck yeah, good on you. Is his legal last name Beast?
I need to. I don't. Mr. Beast name. I need to Google this.
I choose to believe it is.
Jimmy Donaldson.
Oh,
Sorry, James Stephen Donaldson, otherwise known as Jimmy.
I mean, I'm choosing to believe that his last name is now Beast.
The worst
This is how
information here.
Markiplier's last name is Markiplier.
The worst information
I still
here is
don't know
that
who that is either.
he's apparently 25.
He's 25?
May 7th, 1998.
Christ,
Oh
he's
my
younger
god,
than us.
he's my sister's age.
Sorry, I know that we're not talking about him, or that's not the point, but where does his money come from? I don't understand. Like, obviously now I know where it comes from, but like, where did the first money come from?
I don't... Damn.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea. Alright, this is the other thing we're going to do during these 365 days. We're going to investigate Mr. Beast's original source of income.
His Wikipedia page, says middle class household in Greenville, North Carolina. Based off of this abstract at the top of the Wikipedia page, it looks like he went viral first and then maybe got money from that and then used that money to then make more videos, which, you know what? Good for him.
Yeah, honestly, that's the dream. That's the American dream. Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing what? Investigating Mr. Beast? Or
No, we know why we're investigating Mr. Beast. It's because we don't know where he got his money. Why are we reading 365 books in 365 days? I'm looking at the timer and we're at 38 minutes and I'm like...
because we can.
Because we can. Just like Mr. Beast, we have the ability, so why not do it? Right?
We were blessed/cursed.
Blurst, if you will.
We were blessed with hyperlexia. And here we are.
Well, if you want to read along, we have a spreadsheet set up, and by you, I mean people at home, meaning specifically Craig, our one listener. We have a spreadsheet that you can look at that has most of what we're reading. It's sort of updated real time, sort of. If you want book recommendations, we will have so many book recommendations.
Yeah.
This is never going to be on WoW True
Yeah,
again.
this is 365 times 3. We will have read 1,095 books.
Do you think we could go viral with this? I feel like we could go viral with this.
I think
could.
we're too annoying to go viral.
No, but Mr. Beast is also annoying.
Look, what does Mr. Beast have that we don't have, all right?
Millions of dollars.
Mostly just that.
A
Yeah.
YouTube channel. All right. I don't know if this segment will be on WoW True again, but it is here today. And we will be releasing a podcast that will be worse than WoW True, but in some ways better, but in many ways very much worse, at probably weekly intervals.
Woo.
Whoa.
Woo! God, okay, so this episode's very weird, and that's fine. It's just horrors. It's all horrors. It's all people doing things that, like, they shouldn't be doing. Like, I just realized that now when we were talking. When you were like, hey, let me tell you about how Australia isn't real, and about, like, toes. And I was like, fine, we might as well talk about this. It's fine. I've already talked about how I'm reading 365 books in 365 days. I'm already behind, by the way. I'm already 4 books behind.
I mean, it's a lot of books.
It's fine. I could have done it, but then I got distracted playing video games. And then before that, it was like, perpetual stew, which I feel like during that segment, we really didn't touch upon the horror that is like, damn, that thing has to go on forever. Anyway, hi, Allison. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome once again. Who are you?
I am Allison Mills. I guess co-edit the podcast with David, and I am usually an archivist at an educational institution, but I also sometimes experience the horrors along with everyone else in the world.
Your pitches for what you could talk about to me when I asked, like, just generally, like, hey, does anyone want to come on the podcast? You were like, yeah, I can talk about how Australia isn't real. And I had, like, a real, like, wait, what? Before remembering a conversation. And then you privately sent me, how do you look up licenses online and discover someone does toe readings and trained at the Alchemical Institute? Which I was like, okay, I guess I need to know that. And or digital archiving part 2, what does the Internet Archive do? Which you should come back on and talk about that for, like, regular normal human conversation at some point.
Okay.
And or Omegaverse in depth.
Listen, I've read a lot of fan fiction in my time.
Why do you sound like someone who's like a cowboy in the Old West or something? Why did you say it like that?
I feel like that's appropriate for talking about Omegaverse.
Okay, well, we're not doing that. I've reached my quota of the horrors for the day. I've reached my horrors quota. So tell me about the toes, I guess.
Yeah, before I tell you about the toes, should I briefly explain Australia isn't real?
How can Australia be real when birds aren't real? Yeah, go ahead.
So Australia not being real is an offshoot of flat Earth conspiracy theory craziness. The theory is that Australia is an elaborate cover-up by the British government for mass murder, because people believe that although Australia was founded as a penal colony, the prisoners who were supposedly sent there were actually just killed. And people who think that they're Australian really just live on like a bunch of little islands that are kind of in the general vicinity of Australia.
Wait, so what do they think is there instead?
Nothing.
Like
It doesn't
nothing?
exist. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think the biggest flaw in this theory is the fact that the British would not, like, lie about the war crimes.
Yeah. The
Like, they
British
will just did them.
Yeah. They just have museums full of their war crimes. That's what the British do. You know, and if Australia were secretly part of South America or secretly part of, like, Indonesia, why would we cover that up? I think that would just be what the map looked like instead.
I love the concept of Australia being, like, not real, because it's like, it's one of those conspiracy theories that's like, this doesn't really change anything.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I guess, like, it, like, fundamentally warps your understanding of Australia and Australians, but I feel like on a day-to-day level, this is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Like, it's not like the microwaves will kill you sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a conspiracy theory that has you materially changing your behavior. But I love the idea of an Australian getting like turned by this theory.
Yeah. God.
Have you heard of Great Ice Ball Earth theory?
It sounds familiar to me, but if you
It's
ask
probably
me
because I told you about it.
Yeah, I think that's probably why, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the concept behind Great Ice Ball Earth, or like Hollow Earth, I like this one because it is not really flat Earth, because they're really just suggesting the presence of a bigger ball. Where it's like, so the idea that there's a great ice wall around where we are, right? Mm-hmm. That is actually just the little part of like a huge, like, larger ball that is fully ice, that is hollow.
What?
So, like, we are embedded in the crust of a great ice ball is sort of what's going on here.
Okay.
That's Great Ice Ball Earth. It's an offshoot of the ice wall theory.
Oh, yeah, which that one I do know about, but okay. This is just wild.
No, but I like it because it's another ball.
It is.
Like,
it sure is.
You've gone back to round Earth theory. You know what I mean? Like, you went so flat that you went back around. Like, I don't know. I just like that. I think it's funny. Okay, well, I just want to point out that on WoWFTR we do believe in Australia conceptually and physically. We've never been there, or at least I've never been there.
Amanda has been to Laos, which is closer to Australia than, I don't know, California.
Oh, I love this. We're getting the Amanda Laos reference in even when she's not here. This is great. This is like she's in the room with me now.
Yeah, I can still hear her voice.
Talking about louse. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Amanda. You're listening to this and you're probably like, God damn it, they're dunking on me for the louse thing. And that's right, we are. All right, so let's talk about something that's not flat Earth theory, because I feel like there's only so much you can do with that before it starts to get depressing on account of the flatness of the Earth.
Yeah, so let's talk about toes.
Oh no. Never mind, I want to go back.
No, this is what we're going to talk about. And in particular, we're going to talk about how to search for professional licenses online, kind of as a way into talking about toes.
Damn, I was so hoping I could find a way to be like, this isn't the internet. We're not going to talk about this. And then you said how we're going to search for licenses online. Fine, okay, let's learn how to use Google search. Fine, all right, I'm on this toe journey with you now, I guess. Sure, whatever.
Thank you. So for context for the listeners, my work recently invited 3 people, only 2 of whom actually spoke, to do some implicit bias training with the entire library staff. Everyone listening might be going, what the hell does this have to do with toes? That's how the rest of us felt too, or at least everyone I've talked to. So in this implicit bias training, the 2 practitioners who were speaking to us via Zoom introduced themselves. One of them introduced herself as both Dr. Amanda Kemp and Amanada Soul Plant Walker Firewoman. And the other one just said her name was Barb Horn. So
Okay.
we were not off on a promising start. The gist of this 2-day, 3-hour, quote-unquote, training session was that if we meditate, we'll be less racist.
How does this get to toes? How do we get from here to toes?
You're going to find out.
Okay, sorry, go on.
As someone who has led workshops in thinking about your own positionality and race, and has also participated in other training sessions led by like true professionals who do this work, this kind of blew my mind that this was something that my workplace was paying thousands of dollars for. And especially during the second session, when I knew that they had virtually nothing to say, I sat back and went, you have all made a lot of claims about the kind of work that you do and the kind of licenses that you hold. And because I am an archivist and a librarian, I went, I can look those up because those are publicly available information. And I think that it's important for people to know when you are going to see a professional of some kind, there are many professions and businesses that require licenses, and those licenses are publicly available. They, in the United States, vary state by state in like what you need to be licensed to do. But if you go to your state website, or often if you go to like your state library's website, you'll be able to find those databases that list people's licenses really easily. And the nice thing about doing that is that when you are looking at somebody's license, if it's ever been revoked, if there have been significant complaints against a person, if they've ever faced disciplinary action in that, like from that licensing body, that information is publicly available to you. So typically things that are licensed are healthcare providers, accountants, building trade professionals. So if you're, hiring an engineer, an electrician, a plumber, they all need to be licensed for the most part in most states. Barbers and estheticians need to be licensed usually. And then in some states, things like personal trainers or athletic officials often need licensing. Funeral homes and crematoriums need to be licensed.
Oh, Yeah, I never thought about that, but I guess that's actually something I do want someone to be licensed for.
Yep. Social workers and therapists, which kind of intersects with healthcare providers, private investigators, and people who are running nursing homes. All of those professions need to be licensed.
This sounds super reasonable so far.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Well, so depending on where you live, the umbrella under which therapist or healthcare provider stretches could really, really vary. So when I decided to start looking up these professionals, one of them had said, Barb Horn, that she was a therapist. And that is something that like pretty much every state requires you to hold a license for. And so as she was talking about how you just need to meditate to get less racist, and also, oh, they have all these other classes and programs and services that you could purchase individually if you were interested, I decided to look her up. And in looking her up, I discovered that she was a licensed therapist in Colorado, but she was licensed as an unlicensed.
Oh, sorry, that's an oxymoron right there.
Yeah. So what an unlicensed therapist means when you're talking about, and again, this varies based on the like place you're at, but an unlicensed therapist means that they don't have like real training, essentially. They don't have training that the state recognizes as being therapeutic training, but they've told the state that they are practicing this kind of, or some kind of therapy. Mm-hmm. They don't need to list that on their website, that they're an unlicensed licensed therapist. They just need to say like, yeah, I have a license, and yes, I am a therapist. Mm-hmm. When you are applying, even as an unlicensed therapist to a state, you tell them where you trained. In the case of this particular person, she trained in hypnotherapy, which is not a well-regarded form of therapy when it's not being practiced with, I mean, in general, but also especially when it's not being practiced in conjunction with other forms of therapy. She trained at the Alchemical Institute.
Can we talk about that for a second? Did you look up what the Alchemical Institute was?
I sure did.
Oh, good. What is it?
So the Alchemical Institute is a timeless therapeutic process whose practitioners have helped thousands of people heal physical and emotional pain. Online hypnosis courses, workshops, and a worldwide network of certified practitioners. Alchemical hypnosis supports individuals with proven transformational hypnotic processes and professional certification training.
Getting some really strong Ono, Ross, and Carey vibes from this. Getting some real strong Ono, Ross, and Carey vibes from this.
Yeah, you will not be surprised to hear that it is based out of California.
Yeah, that works.
It was founded by a guy named David Quigley, who claims to be one of the pioneers of transpersonal hypnosis therapy and has been working in hypnotherapy since the 1980s. He's also one of those people who claims to have inner guides.
Cool, fine. That's fine.
I think in his particular case, that means like angels talked to him and told him that he needed to be providing hypnosis therapy to people.
Allison, how does this get to the toe thing?
Well, so Barb Horn did an online course in hypnotherapy. And so she's allowed to offer that as a service to people who get in touch with her. She will hypnotize you to help you manifest your goals, help heal your heart, help reduce anxiety, eliminate fear, make you have optimum health, help you with relationships. She will also perform some ceremonies or rituals for you, including baby welcoming, a maiden or menses ceremony.
What does that?
Yep. She will officiate weddings or commitment ceremonies. She will do a crone or grandmahood ceremony. That one I'm not sure what that is.
Wait, I would love to go to a crone ceremony. That sounds like some weird witchcraft shit.
I mean, this is all weird, like...
Yeah, but the word crone.
Yeah, I think it is just celebrating that you're old.
You know, okay, all this podcast is right now is me listening to you describe how you went on a rabbit hole of like, hey, crones. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah. Internet. Sure.
This is what happens when you look up someone's professional business license on the internet. Suddenly, you are learning about crone ceremonies.
Okay. Okay, keep going.
One of the other things that she will do for you is a toe reading. A thing which I had never heard of before.
Is this like a palm reading but with your toes?
Yep.
Okay.
But the logic behind a toe reading is that as you walk across the earth, the path that you tread, the path that your life has taken since you were an infant until now, is told in your feet.
Like, I guess. Like, yeah, I guess these are the same feet. Sure, yeah, fine, okay.
That's where your meridians are. That's where your body ends.
No, this reminds me of like if you go into like a traditional medicine guy, like an Asian traditional medicine guy, it's like office or something, or like the place where they like have the weird things in them. You know, the ginseng in the big bottle. You know what I mean. You may not know what I mean. Maybe I only know what I mean. Like traditional medicine. Yeah. It's not racist if I say it, it's fine. But sometimes they have like a big like poster of a foot with like all of the like where things map onto the rest of your body.
Yeah, that's reflexology, I think, which is like an offshoot of acupuncture.
Hey, why do you know so much about feet?
I do. I know a lot about I know a lot about really weird things that people do to their bodies.
That's actually not better. You know that, right?
No, it's not. Listen, everyone goes down weird internet rabbit holes. Anyway, each toe is connected to different energy centers in your body, and because of that, they can help unlock stories that are held in other parts of your body. And so by reading your toes, you honor those stories and you learn about your life and what can make you more spiritually and emotionally available.
You sound so delighted telling me about this.
I am, because I just think it's so wild. I had never heard of toe reading before this.
Do you think it's like, Okay, so do you think this is actually an ancient practice.jpg that's getting corrupted?
Absolutely not.
Or is it something that someone was just like, you know what we've got? Palm reading. You know what else we've got on our body? Feet. Like, is that just what happened? Like, somebody woke up one day and was like, yeah, feet. That's what we're gonna do. Like, what an insane choice. I bet it started as a kink thing. Send tweet.
Yeah, this to me feels like, I do think that it came out of like traditional medicine, and then someone decided to combine it with palm reading, and then we got toe or feet reading. That's where I think this came from.
Maybe this is how you can make up all sorts of new treatments, where you just combine thing 1 with thing 2 and make thing 3, which is like horrifically worse. You know, like the opposite of perpetual stew, right? Like where if with a stew you're putting ingredients together and they're greater than the sum of their parts. Whereas here it's like you put feet with palm reading and this is now nothing.
If you had to combine two things, what would you combine?
Oh, Christ. Okay, wait, can I talk about one thing that I saw in a book first? Yes. And this is great, because now there's continuity in the podcast, because I talked about this book in the previous segment. So in a Brandon Sanderson book, there's a teenager who comes up with, like, basically, like, Zodiac/tarot, but based on what television show was airing on the date of your birth. And I think that would be really funny to do with, like, Simpsons episodes.
Yeah, that would be really good.
So that's my first answer. I'm sure I'll come up with something better. I think maybe like, oh, see, this is great, because I also talked about like tea reading, but was the stew. Like, you know, like tea leaves was the stew, but like you put in a bunch of alphabet letters. Uh-huh. Like, you know, the pasta, and then you flip the cup over of the stew, and then whatever word you see, that's your future. I don't know, what do you think? I feel like you've had more time to think about this than I have.
I have not. But I think if I was going to combine two, oh, you know what I would do?
Oh, no.
Because this fits in with like the kind of people, not everybody, but generally speaking, many of the people who are into New Agey stuff are also into kombucha.
Oh, no. I'm worried now.
My new divination method is you take a part of the mother of the kombucha and you either, I guess, put it in a glass and try and or a bowl and try and read it, or you just splat it on the ground and then you see what shape it makes. And that is how you figure out your future.
This is very gross.
Yes.
I tried kombucha for the first time last week, and I didn't like it. But I was at my cousin's place, so I couldn't get rid of it.
Did you just walk around with a glass of kombucha?
Oh, I mean, I was sitting there with a glass of kombucha, and I drank like half of it, and I didn't know how to ask one of my other cousins if they wanted the rest of it without sounding rude to my other one. Ashley, if you're listening to this, when we were at Michelle's place, I did not like the kombucha, because I don't like kombucha, and it was the first time I was having it. But I didn't know how to get rid of it, and then Michelle's baby, anyway, a bunch of kombucha ended up spilling on the floor, so I felt bad about wasting even more kombucha. Anyway. I'm trying to figure out a way to make a feet for free joke in this entire segment, and I still haven't come up with a good one, so I'm just telling you about the joke that I want to have made. I have nothing to say about this other than, I feel like sometimes the one bad thing about the internet is that you learn too much.
Yes.
And I feel like I've learned too much.
Yes. But for everyone who's really into feet out there, you have now learned a new and innovative way to get people to pay you to look at their feet.
It sounds like a 4chan green text. Have feet kink. Realize I can do a grift out of this. Get paid to look at feet. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got. This episode's over. Thanks for being on, Allison.
Thanks for having me.
If you like this episode, tell a friend. Word of mouth is how we grow. Thank you to all of our patrons, and shout out specifically to Zoe, Bray, Andromeda, Thea, Brian, Gabriel, Lada, Matt, Max, who was on this episode, my sugar daddy Sam, and Aaron's husband. If you want your name in the above or on our Twitter header, slide right into our Patreon at patreon.com/wowoftrue. Shout out to audio editors Allison Mills and David Newtown, graphic designer and Canva Warlock Eric Silver, who made our logo, Sam Reiser, who made our podcast music, and Tessa Farrow, who is transcribing our episodes. You can find us on Twitter as @WowofTruePod and Instagram and Facebook as @WowofTrue. Had your 15 seconds of internet fame? Slide right into our Twitter DMs and tell us about it. And until next time, let's get weird on the internet. I'm done.
Yay.